Tohsang literally means weaving light. So weaving with light. สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Prairie Yooprasert and I'm the founder of Tohsang Cotton Village. Tohsang Cotton Village is an ethical textile studio where we start all the way from growing the cotton itself, transforming the raw materials with hand and the use of technology, and finishing by hand weaving into metered fabric. So there are emergent problems within the fashion industry, such as the lack of transparency and the ethics that go into making the clothes that we wear every day. One of the goals of Tohsang Cotton Village is to be transparent about where our products come from. We enable villagers to price their products properly, which means avoiding the undercutting and predatory pricing in the Thai textile industry and encouraging fair wages by including labor costs, transparency throughout the entire process, and verifiable traceability. By giving importance to where it is grown and those involved with the entire process of making the product, we bring values to the products so that the customers can really be in touch with their products and have a connection with the makers.
ชื่อจันจิราหมื่นแสนค่ะจะให้เขารู้สึกว่าเขาได้อนุรักษ์ความเป็นธรรมชาติแล้วก็ดั้งเดิมตั้งแต่สมัยบรรพบุรุษว่าเขาทำกันมาอย่างนี้เหรอซึ่งการทอมือนี่มันแตกต่างจากการทอเครื่องคือแบบว่ามันทุกอย่างมันก็อาจจะไม่เป๊ะมันก็อาจจะมีจิตวิญญาณของเราแฝงเข้าไปในนั้นด้วยเพราะว่าทุกขั้นตอนเราใช้มือทำทั้งหมดแล้วก็จิตวิญญาณที่แฝงเข้าไปในเนื้อผ้าด้วยค่ะ
Our vision is to build empowered communities along the Mekong by revitalizing cotton production and providing stable, fair employment to artisans of all generations. We have 15 in-house artisans consisting of weavers, dyers, and seamstresses. We work with approximately 25 households as outsourced weavers, where we provide them with the raw materials and tools needed for their work. By creating economic opportunities in the area, our staff are able to work closer to their homes, preventing generational gap issues and averting problems of outward migration. With this, Tohsang Cotton Village aims to build a community committed to sustainable practices, and we hope to inspire others to join us on this path. ขอบคุณค่ะ My name is Prairie Yooprasert, and I am the founder of Tohsang Cotton Village. We're based in Khong Chiem, Ubon Ratchathani, which is northeastern Thailand, and we're actually the most eastern part of Thailand. So we're known to have the first sunrise in Thailand as well. I was born in the US and I've lived in several countries, including Malaysia, and I came back from the US to start my business. So in college, I studied photography, but I also had different courses and stuff like that in college as well. And I had a special interest in globalization and learning things about the environment and geopolitical issues and stuff like that, which kind of linked to what we're doing here because we live right next to the river. Our lifestyle and the way of, doing the textiles here is very interlinked with our environment, such as when we grow cotton, we grow it next to the Mekong River bank, so we have to wait for the seasons. So we have to wait for the water to rise and flood the banks, and then once the water goes down, we can plant the seeds and stuff like that. And as well as all our natural dyes, we have to forage for tree bark and leaves and stuff like that, natural materials from the forests that are surrounding our areas. So, our world is changing and there's a lot of human issues and human interaction between us and the environment, such as the Mekong River being affected by lots of dams that are being built in Laos and China, the expansion of people taking advantage of the forests and stuff like that, and having deforestation as well. That's all effective. That's all the problems. Some of the many problems that are in our area right now, and I felt that starting this business was going to address those issues and bring like a cultural preservation to the things that are important. The name Tohsang is actually the name of my family name. It's actually Tohsang. And then my family runs a hotel business called Tohsang. But I wanted to use the name also because when you directly translate Tohsang, it means Toh means to weave and Sang means light. So because we're in the most eastern part of Thailand, the sun rises here first. We grow our cotton basically on the border of Thailand. So we're basically weaving with the first light. So I thought it was really fitting. And then Cotton Village is basically the community that I wanted to create with the circular system that we have going around. Probably my mom. Yeah. My mom actually started a coffee shop called Once Upon a Time. And because she really likes coffee, but at the coffee shop, we had some weaving demonstrations. And when I first came back, I got it to learn how to weave and how to do natural dyes with the locals here. So in a sense, the locals were also a huge inspiration for me to start Tohsang Cotton Village. Yeah, it was a lot of learning that I had to do, and it was a lot of like being in an environment that I'm not too familiar with, but being out of my comfort zone, learning as well as creating products, as well as there were a lot of mistakes I had early on. I also don't have that much experience, so it was quite a challenge for sure. Most of the stuff that we've done is local. So we mostly cater to tourists that come from all over Thailand and from other parts of the world. This was pre-COVID, but because of COVID, we want to shift more towards the direction of exporting, and we want to change our products as well. And we are aiming towards making more fabrics for designers so they can create their own line of fashion or apparel or whatever. With the fabrics that we have. We've only done small orders to the UK, some parts in Europe, Singapore, as well as Taiwan. We work with them on designs. So it'd be very custom order and very catered to whatever the customer needs. With fabrics, if it's custom orders, it takes around 2 months to conclude the design and to start production, which includes dyeing of the yarn and then weaving the yarn. So the majority of the time is through the weaving. The weaving itself takes about a month. If the opportunity arises, for sure. We're working on a collection right now to go to Malaysia, I think, actually, Tenuan Fashion Week. We're working on that collection right now, which Tenuan Fashion Week only focuses on hand-woven indigenous, very small community hand-woven fabrics. So that's one of our biggest fashion shows coming up. And then hopefully there will be opportunities that arise from that. Yes, of course. Luckily, in 2020, COVID wasn't much of a problem in Thailand. So we were able to operate as normal in 2020. But this year has been really hard for us because our main audience is tourists. And without the lack of tourists, that's why we're trying to shift our business into a new direction, which is to create fabrics instead of end products. So we're working on our marketing plan and sales plan right now to go online. Luckily, this year I applied for a fellowship with Asian Wise, Angels of Impact. That's what I meant. The program's called Asian Wise. It's a Singapore-based social enterprise. And they've provided a lot of resources and also grant funding as well for COVID relief, as well as like resources on how we can bring our market online more and stuff like that. We're mostly just focusing on Facebook and Instagram right now to reach that market of designers and getting our story out there. But in terms of selling the fabrics itself, I think it's very hard to sell on those platforms for us because our products are so custom made that it's hard to, like, there's only one of each thing that we can put online. So it's more, we're using those other platforms to reach out to people so that we can have a collaboration with them. There's a lot of things that we want to do for sure. We still haven't, the majority of our business has been run during COVID. If we're not talking about COVID, I really want the space to be a full learning experience. And we're planning on building homestays so that people can stay and experience the village at the same time for maybe like 3 to 2 weeks or something like that. Stay with the locals and learn the entire process. That's been a really long-term goal of mine. And then we, in terms of like marketing online and stuff like that, we definitely want to go global and we want to reach more people abroad because I think Thailand has a very niche market and a lot of the prices that we have is not applicable to the Thai market. So we want to reach out for sure and, interact and get to work with a lot of designers abroad. One of the main reasons that, I'm doing this is because I want to bring awareness for sure about where our clothing comes from, how, especially if some people might be aware or might not be aware about the impacts of cotton in our world. Like cotton is very known for being like a destructive plant in terms of its water usage and stuff like that. So I want to bring awareness to, having people ask questions of where their clothes come from, how they're made, who made their clothes and stuff like that. And really being curious about the stuff that we wear every day and what kind of impact that has on the world and people who made it and the earth that it was grown on and stuff like that. Because I think the transparency is, especially in things like fast fashion, is something that people don't know much about, and that it's the industry of fast fashion is one of the most harmful industries to climate change and human rights around the world. So yeah. So you can find us at Tohsang Cotton Village, both on Facebook and Instagram. That is Tohsang and then Cotton Village. And we don't have a website yet, but we're working on that.